I can remember as early as 5th grade passing out after having a vaccination. And that is where it all started. I think since then, I've always had this fear of needles, right? This phobia, if you were to say. Ever since then, literally every time I get a vaccination, my body goes into my vasovagal syncope response. I think that's what it's called. I'm not a medical practitioner, okay? But anyways, basically my body looks like I have a seizure and then I pass out. Yes. It has happened to me quite a few times. Even one incident, I ended up in the ER after just getting a yellow fever vaccination, I think it was, because they thought I was having a seizure. Yeah. Thankfully, I was not having a seizure and I don't have seizures. But anyways, I digress. So once I got diagnosed with cancer, obviously I had to come face to face with my fear of needles, all right? It felt very much so like if I didn't come face to face with my fear of needles, it was like a life or death situation with my treatment plan, clearly, right? So some of you may know, some of you might not know, but I do have a master's degree in counseling. So I've been able to learn about, like cognitive behavioral therapy and exposure therapy, systematic desensitization, right? All of these different techniques where you work through the trauma, you expose it in a gentle way. You back off a little bit, expose it a little bit more, back off, right? Process it in a healthy way before you continue and move on to the next step. However, what I had to do was do the therapy, or not therapy, I wouldn't consider this therapy, the method, which is called flooding, okay? Yeah. Flooding is basically where you just come face to face with it. There is no exposure. There is no real preparation involved. You just get thrown in the lion's den. And that is what it felt like. Yeah. Because not only did I have to come face to face with cancer, right? Obviously, I had to start that with IVF. Now there's one, I don't know if you've ever had IVF before, but basically you have to inject yourself with the medicine, okay? Give yourself shots 2 to 3 times a day, and you have to do it yourself. And they didn't give me any type of training prior. Like, they just sent me some videos and was like, ta-da, here you go. I hope you can magically do it. Okay, bye. And I was like, freaking out because they didn't even do it with me the first time. Sometimes I hear people like, oh yeah, they did it with their doctor the first time. No. For me, I was just shown some videos, right? Like literally videos emailed to me, and then peace out, picked up my medication and bye, right? Nobody, no consultation. I was freaking out. So how did I do that? The first time it took me about 30 minutes, right? To just like literally prepare myself. I had ambiance in the background, the music, I had my ice packs, I had my heating pad. I made myself so comfortable. Like I could have went to a spa pretty much. I had my candles going, like you name it, I had it, right? But that is how I was able to set myself up for success, if you were to say, right? But after the 3rd day, this is where I started seeing like a significant change, right? After the 3rd day, I just laid everything out. I didn't need all of the music, the ambiance, whatever, right? I just needed my little ice pack. Then by day, I don't know, 6 or 7, it just started getting a little bit easier, right? Of course, did I like it? No. Was it comfortable? No. But was I able to do it faster with more comfort without having to psych myself up about it? Yes, right? So that was good. Also keep in mind, when you're doing IVF, you have to do blood work every 2 to 3 days. So I still at that moment was not comfortable somehow looking at my blood being taken, right? I think there's one step of like, okay, you inject yourself into the stomach, but you don't really see what's going on. And then also like you're just injecting it into your fat, right? But when they go in for the vein, it was a little bit different, right? Like I had already previously passed out just from the saline being injected into me from my breast MRI, which, yeah, that was embarrassing. They were like, it's just saline. I was like, you don't understand. You don't understand. Yeah. Anyways, but then I can finally say now, after a year, yes, after a year, I am finally at a place now where I can go and see them take my blood out and I won't pass out and I'll be fine. And is it easy? No. But can I do it? Yes, right? And I think that is where the biggest accomplishment is. You know, I think a lot of people expect themselves when they're getting over a fear or a phobia to just like, woohoo, like it's no big deal now, right? Like, no, maybe one day, like I will get to the point where I'm like, woohoo, it's no big deal. But I think it's valid to be like, okay, this is something that I'm never going to like doing, but can I do it? Yes. Does it get easier over time? Yes, it does, right? So if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, you know what, like I have to do treatment or I have to do IVF or whatever it is, or blood work, just say, right? I have to do blood work and I am absolutely terrified, right? One thing that helps ease my mind is like, these are medical practitioners. They do this for a living. A lot of times they are on robot mode. Like to them, just like, you know, giving blood or putting in an IV is like second nature to them. You know, they could do it almost nearly with their eyes closed. You know, like they do this all day long. And even if something did happen where they couldn't find your vein or they missed your vein, or in my case, I had a situation where they injected contrast into my actual muscle instead, right? Like they know what to do, right? And they'll be able to act really fast. And even in the situation where I thought was like, this is the worst thing that could happen, they injected contrast into my muscles and it was a little painful, right? I thought to myself, I'm like, this is the worst that could happen. And then it happened to me. And then I was like, okay, well, the medical practitioners didn't react in a way that was like alarming. They were just like, oh yeah, we just gotta like rub it out. Like, you know, it wasn't a big deal. And in a couple days, it was totally fine, right? So even if you end up in a situation where it's like the worst of the worst, like they missed or they injected something where they weren't supposed to, like it's really not that big of a deal. They know what to do. They know exactly what to do, and you'll be totally fine. And if you are going to end up in a situation where you have to do it yourself, I would say the first couple times, like have a support system, you know, have somebody there that can comfort you along the way, and set yourself up for success. Grab a stuffed animal, an ice pack, a heating pad, like do whatever you need to do to make yourself comfortable. You got this. And yeah, that's all I got for today. If you were following my journey, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button below, and I will see you next time.